And now at this time, I'd like to invite back to share with us Paul Gaspar. Now, we did introduce him earlier as not only a speaker, but he's become quite a partner of ours here at Canadian SME with some of the initiatives that we've been able to roll out together. I'd love for him to tell you the story about his brother-in-law in grocery stores, but I think that's going to have to remain under wraps. That might be a private story. That might be a little inside conversation that we'll have to keep to ourselves, Paul. But I'm sure he's full of others insightful thoughts and stories that he's willing to share with us. I did mention that he is the director of small business for UPS, and he's going to discuss how to manage your e-commerce growth. Using UPS commissioned UPS commissioned study, he'll highlight best practices to reduce shopping cart abandonment while showcasing the must-haves for any online store that you'll probably roll out. When ministering earlier mentioned moving from bricks or adding clicks to your bricks, it's interesting. The team at UPS with Paul can actually assist with both. So without further ado, Paul, thank you for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure to hear from you.
Perfect. Thank you. Just making sure that I'm coming clearly through and you can see my screen. I got the thumbs up. Thank you. Perfect. And I'm glad you didn't share the story because that's probably one, that's one for after the event when we're have an opportunity to socialize when we're back together again. So I hope everyone's enjoying the start of the event so far. We've had two great presentations already with some really important things for your business. In fact, doesn't matter what size your business is, all really good, valuable information. I'm hoping over the next 30 minutes to do the same, to also share some insights for you, hopefully some nuggets of things that you can take away and say, you know what, I didn't know that, or I should look into this, and hopefully that'll help your business continue to grow and get to where you want it to go. So I'm going to be talking about e-commerce growth, and of course, some of you might be going, well, UPS, Paul, you work for a courier company that moves packages from point A to point B. What does that have to do necessarily with managing growth online? But I think by the time we get to the end of this presentation, you'll see that there's a lot that we've learned because of the space that we're in and working with businesses. In fact, we do studies around the world with consumers to understand their behavior online when they're buying and what they expect from that experience. And we work with marketplaces and other enablers of businesses that support the e-commerce component online, not just that front end where you can get your research and understand your product or service, but obviously the key back end as well too, which is the shopping cart and how to get those packages to your customers to fulfill the end part of the experience that they're going to have with you. So want to dive into this and hopefully we'll have some time just in case there's some questions or anything at the end for us to share. But if we don't, we'll be in the booth, both Felipe, and if I have an opportunity, I'll pop in there as well too to answer any further questions you might have. But what is this thing that we're talking about, e-commerce? And, you know, as business owners, as individual consumers ourselves, Canada was starting to grow on the e-commerce world prior to what we know happened a year and a half ago with COVID and the pandemic. But what I can tell you is since then, it's really exploded, not just around the world, but obviously here as well. Globally, there's 150 million new online shoppers just last year alone. 150 million. And I can tell you that Canada online sales grew by 72%, which is phenomenal. But at the same time, we have to make sure we're prepared. The stat that you see on the screen of 4.9 trillion in sales this year, my understanding is that we're going to easily surpass that globally, that number as well. So what the pandemic did was took the trajectory of something that was already starting to boom globally and just made it much more of a sharp incline and just made a much more greater emphasis on it. That being said, and what I want to talk about a little bit today is I can tell you and share with you that businesses of all sizes Doesn't matter if you're small starting off or even your Fortune 500 brands that you probably have been online buying from. All experience what we call shopping cart abandonment. Basically, when you've got someone on your website, they like what you have to offer, they put it into the shopping cart, but then they disappear. They don't finish that transaction. And that plagues businesses of all sizes. I know for a fact that large businesses, ones that you can think of top of mind that are giants in the e-commerce world, they've got teams that focus specifically on reducing shopping cart abandonment. Now, you're probably going, well, I don't have an army to look and focus on this. But what I can share with you is a study that we have done globally, what we've learned from there, areas that you can focus on to ensure that your website is up to speed, and if it's not, to get it there. And the good news is everything that consumers expect, you being a consumer, an e-commerce consumer yourself, are things that are available to you at your fingertips that you can ensure that you tweak and do to your website if it's not already there. So let's dive into this a little bit more. So the study I keep talking about is the pulse of the online shopper. So if you happen to go to our website and you search for Pulse of Online Shopper, you'll be able to download the actual white paper, which will give you a lot more information than what I can take you through in the next few minutes. So that's a great resource. And again, I've already outlined what the shopping cart abandonment rate is, which obviously is someone that has entered something in the shopping cart and they've left. But you can see from our studies that we've done globally, when we break it down to certain regions around the world, what the actual abandonment rate can be. Now, this is worst case scenario. This is a website that is doing absolutely nothing that a consumer expects from that experience. The abandonment rate can be as high as 90% in North America and relatively similar in Europe and Asia. So basically around the world, that is a scary thought to think about because you're spending so much time on your product and service to get it to the point that it's at, that now it's on your website. And you're spending money to get people to your website to actually look at what you have to offer. And now you're excited because some of them are actually putting them into the shopping cart, only to realize that 1 in 10 is actually going to purchase that. That is not something that you want to deal with or have that experience. Like I said, the good news is most of you probably already cleaned up some of this or do some of this, but hopefully there will be a few things here that you're going to realize, my website's not like that, and I need to get that addressed as quickly as I can to ensure that my abandonment rate is not 90%, hopefully not even 50, but hopefully it's 20, 15, 10%, which is something that as a business we can continue to work to reduce, but can live with. So let's start looking at some of these components. And like I said, our white paper will cover a lot more. I'm just looking at some high-level items that, some of us as consumers might think are obvious, but you'll be surprised when I'm working with small businesses. I like to look at their website and understand what that experience would be if I'm a customer. How many of these simple things that we all expect don't necessarily do with our own business on our own websites. The first one is storing the shopping cart for a later time. Now, we all recognize that when we are consumers and we go to a website, more often than not, if we select something and put into a shopping cart, if we can't finish that transaction or we get busy or we want to think about it a little bit more, we tend to go away. We might come back later that same day. Maybe it's later that, the following day. It could be later that week. But we like the fact that when we go back to that URL, back to that website, we recognize that, on the top right where it's got it shows the 1 or 2 or 3 items I put in there. And how does it do that? Well, it recognizes our IP address. So it recognizes who we are, and it actually takes us there. It actually recognizes that, hey, this is Paul, even though he didn't create a login or an ID, I recognize that he's using the same IP address, and therefore, here's what he had in the shopping cart before. So very simple thing that you can build into the back end, whether or not you're using a third-party platform or you've got someone that's built in-house your website. If you don't have this, you should do that because our research indicated that consumers, if they have to go back in there and look for it, If you're selling one item, that might not be too hard. If you've got a lot of items, a lot of color options, a lot of selections, they might not want to go through that again. And basically, some of them will disappear and you've lost that opportunity. Another one is multiple payment options. Now, not just multiple options, but making sure that you can put at ease your customers that your site is secure. We unfortunately hear all the time in the news about all the ransomwares that is inflicting larger companies that get hit with it globally. What we don't hear about a lot in the news are all the smaller businesses that unfortunately get inflicted with this as well too. So I can tell you from our research that consumers are a little wary, a little concerned. They might be on your website and you're saying, wow, this is a great product, great service. I want to buy this. But I'm now in the shopping cart section of it, and it doesn't really vote confidence as far as how secure their site is, and if I've got options to verify no matter what credit card platform I'm on, or even better yet, providing alternatives like a PayPal or Google Pay or an Apple Pay, where the consumer might feel a lot more secure because they love your product. They just don't know how secure your website is, and they want to buy from you, but they're really hesitant. So take that fear away from them by making sure that you've got multiple payment options and that they're secure and that you can validate that for your customer so you're not, again, losing a percentage of those that are willing to buy from you. All right. Another is multiple service options. Now, we always talk about our customers that we got to make sure that we provide them alternatives for what they want to buy from you. Now, if your target audience is within where you're shipping from, if you've got brick and mortar or if you're just doing your business from your home or a warehouse, if your target really is just local, this might not necessarily be a requirement, but most businesses, even though you might start local, you want to be global. At least national at one point, and then hopefully take your business globally as well too. I can tell you that most consumers are looking for the lowest cost of delivery option for them because they don't want to be paying for that. In fact, a lot of them look for free shipping, which I'll get to in a second. But you will find some that want a faster alternative. If you happen to be operating in Ontario and you've now got customers in Vancouver that love what you have to offer, a lot of them might be willing to wait the 3, 4, 5 days that it's going to take for that ground delivery to get to them. But there's going to be a percentage of them that want what you have to offer quicker, faster, for whatever reason it might be. And you need to offer that as an alternative to them. Let the customers know that here's the options that you can select from and what the costs are. Now, the great thing about this is an API, a plugin that you can get from your carrier. It doesn't matter if it's UPS or someone else they're utilizing. Most carriers will have these tools that when you're integrating with your shopping cart, you can bring that in because you know where you're shipping from. Your customer at this point is told you already where they want it to go. You know, based on their shopping cart, what they want to ship. So you basically have the details that you need in order to ping the API to get that information from your carrier to say, here's where it's coming from, where it's going to, what it is that's being shipped, therefore the packaging and the weight. I can now tell the customer that here's the shipping charges and the different commitments as far as when they can get it. Again, consumers are telling us that more often than not, the lowest cost is what they want, but there's a percentage of them that want other alternatives, and if they don't have that, it might be too late for them to order, and therefore they're not going to buy from you. So make sure you do that. I'm going to go on a quick little side tangent because I mentioned free delivery. And I hear this every time I'm presenting live, when we were able to present live. Hopefully we'll get to that again. I always get asked this question: how can we compete with the big box stores that offer free shipping? Well, the first thing I need to tell you is that there is no such thing as free shipping. Somebody is paying for it somewhere. Now, it could be that that business is large enough that they got really good low rates from whoever their carrier is, and they're eating a portion of that shipping charges themselves. and just managing their business that way. It could be that they are enticing the consumer to spend more to increase their shopping cart or the items that they have in order for them to absorb into their margins that low-cost alternative to ship out to them. Or what really happens more often than not is the price of the goods already includes that low-cost alternative, that ground shipping cost. And then that's your free shipping. And of course, the customer, as we just talked about, can pick a fast alternative, but pay that difference at that point. But most of the trick of the trade is that it gets included. And I'll give you an example that I dealt with myself a few years back. My wife was on one of the box stores' websites, and she came across a light that she wanted for our home. It was for the basement, very basic light. And she said, hey, this is great. Let's go ahead and order it. So I went online, ordered it for us, delivered by UPS, got it 2 days later. And I was free shipping. I actually paid $49.99 online, free shipping. Thought it was a great deal, great price. Got the light installed, really happy. A couple of weeks later, I happened to be in the local box store location, same one. And as I'm walking through it, what do I see at the end display? Not on sale, but the regular in-store price, the exact same light. And how do I know it's the same light? Because I took a photo of the box with the SKU, and I still had the box at home, and I matched it. It was the same box, same SKU. But in-store, regular price was $37.99. Now, I got free shipping online, but I paid $49.99 online. So really, did I get free shipping? So when you are looking to compete and you're looking to manage the cost of your shipping, you need to understand, what are your competitors doing? What are my margins? What are my shipping costs? And how can I incorporate that into the margin a little, maybe in the price of the product, to ensure that you are working with your customers' expectations to either have free shipping or pay very little for the shipping costs, to walk you through that. And again, these are things that we can discuss in more detail, if you like, at the virtual booth as well. So moving along, wrong button. Active time in transit. So this really ties in with multiple service options as well, because your customers want to know not just what it's going to cost them, but when they can get it. And again, this is part of those APIs, those tools that you can plug in that you can get from your carrier. And your carrier is going to be able to tell your customer not just what the cost is, and if it's ground and if you incorporate into the price of the goods, it's probably going to say that it's free shipping, it's included. But it's also going to tell them that if they're in Vancouver, it's going to get there in 3 days or 4 days. And it allows your customer to say, you know what, that's not good for me. I actually need it in 2 days. And there's a 2-day service option I can select that is going to cost me a few dollars more. So again, not something that the masses of your customers are going to look for. But there's percentage of those based on our research that are looking for not just the accurate time, but other options as well too. And if you don't offer that, there's a percentage of customers coming to your website that are not going to buy from you, and you're losing those opportunities with something that you can address quickly if you don't already have on your website. Track orders is another one as well too. Now, this is something that you might not have into the shopping cart component, but it's something that you need to build into your website. You need to make sure that you provide to your customers an opportunity for them to actually go and track their orders. Customers want that. We live in a day and age where when you place an order, customers' expectations is to take out their phone, open up their mailbox, and look for that email that should be there already. They want that instantaneously, and we expect that as consumers, so we need to deliver that to our customers online as well too. So when someone places an order, you need to be able to communicate directly to them right away that the order is being processed. And as soon as you have processed it and it's out the door, you need to update them again with a tracking number, because customers want to know where that package is, when it's going to get to them, and Some carriers, like UPS, provide the receivers, your customers, with options for them to actually take control of that. Through UPS, we have something called My Choice that consumers sign up for, not shippers. And by signing up for that, when I actually have a package coming to me via UPS, I now can make changes to that if I want. I might recognize that, hey, I had that going to my home, but I'm not going to be home now the day that it's actually going to be there. I'm going to be at a different address. I can actually make that change. Or if it is coming home to my home, I can actually ensure that, hey, it's actually arriving on Wednesday, not Thursday. And I actually need to make sure that I've got someone there because I want to make sure that they grab it because I need it to be action right away. So it provides the customers the opportunity to take control of their order coming in, but they're not going to be able to do that if you're not providing information to them that they would want or need. Landed cost is another one that is very important if you are global in nature. Now, we do a whole other presentation that talks about the importance of going global because as a business, and you can be a brand new business that's just started off, you need to, as quickly as you can, to start thinking about going global. Our Canadian government's done a great job with free trade agreements and setting up the opportunities for business of all sizes that if they want to, because of e-commerce, not necessarily worry about brick and mortar, they'd be able to actually, with their website, not just target Canadian consumers, but be able to target consumers around the world wherever you want to go to. Landed costs allow for those international customers that want to buy from you to know what the full cost is when that package is coming to them. Any of you that have ever bought anything from a international supplier for yourself and had it shipped to Canada knows what I'm talking about. Because internationally, you need to deal with brokerage and customs, potentially additional taxes. And by understanding that and having a landed cost tool built in, you can tell your international consumers that, hey, to get this package directly to you, here's all of the cost that's built in already. Or if you're going to have them deal with the brokerage on their end, at least tell them already what that is so that they can feel confident in buying from you and not worry that there might be surprises when the package is showing up in their country and at their door. All right, the last piece, and again, there's a lot more that we can get, but it's returns that I want to talk to you about. From a returns perspective, this is something that I always struggle because when I talk to businesses, it's one of those areas that businesses just don't want to talk about or think about because it's that pain in their side to have to deal with returns. However, as consumers, we all expect it. When we're online, we want to understand what is a return policy, how can I deal with returns, how difficult is it or easy is it going to be, because if I'm going to buy from them, if it's the wrong size, the wrong color, just not the product that I thought it was going to be, how can I deal with returns and understand what the return policy is? Yet businesses always struggle to have that. I always encourage that you need to have your return policy front and center. I've been on websites where when I'm looking at their products, putting it into a shopping cart, going at the bottom, looking at all their T's and C's and information, nowhere does it talk about returns. So when I put something in the shopping cart and I go through those multiple screens of here's who I am, here's the address it needs to go to, here's the service I want to select, here's my payment process. When I get to that last screen of validation is when all of a sudden there's a new option at the bottom that I can click on, which is the return policy. And now I read it, and maybe the return policy is we don't deal with returns. Or we do, but here's the requirements with returns. I can tell you that from my research, if that's where you have it hidden, you've already lost people. There are people that are not going to get that far to see what it is. Your return policy needs to be front and center. And if you manage your returns properly, I can tell you with certainty that this is an area that could differentiate your business from your competitors if you do this right. So instead of shying away from your returns and how you're going to deal with that in your business, if you actually accept it and take it on, you really can make a difference as to how you can position yourself with the competition you're dealing with in the market. And again, this is valid for B2C as well as B2B, if that happens to be the space that you're in. All right. So here's a quick snapshot of things that as consumers, you're probably going, well, these are obvious, but I would challenge you to look at your website to ensure you've got all of these. And if you download our shopping cart, Pulse of the Online Shopper study, you'll recognize that there's a few other areas that you might want to look at as well. Okay, moving on. I titled this After Sales Sales. And I love it because I always get a look. Sorry, Shiraz, we're good? Okay. So after sales is an area that I want to make sure that I cover, because people always look at this and going, you're in courier, you're logistics, it's a cost for my business. What are you talking about dealing with sales? Well, I can tell you that in your logistics portion, when you're actually moving your goods for your customers, this is a great opportunity for you to actually make your customers feel good, actually treat them in a way that they become repeat customers. And if you really do this area well, you can actually make them advocates of your business. So I challenge customers to always think of every customer as the lifetime value and not the transactional value. If you get a customer and you're just trying to get that order through and out the door and you're moving on to your next one, you're losing an opportunity to really provide the right customer experience throughout the entire process, not just when they place the order, but throughout the whole process until they get the order, to actually make them a repeat customer. And like I said, if you actually make them a advocate of your business, advocates of businesses are if they're in the office, at the water cooler, talking about the experience that they have on your website. At family barbecues, this great website that I bought this great product on, they become a sales channel for you. So you want to do this right. And on the screen, I can't dive into all this, but there's some examples, again, with API tools, custom messaging, things that you can do to actually make your customers feel good, to actually want to come back and buy from you. A great example of this is with the tracking number that I talked about as well, too. All of us as consumers, when we buy from websites, when the actual shipment goes out, a lot of us get an email saying it's been shipped. Here's the actual tracking number. And then when you click on that, a lot of you think that goes right back to the carrier's website, and it can. If you ship via UPS and you send an email to your customer tracking number and you click on it, it can come back to us. And we will tell your customer where the package is. We will tell your customer when they're going to get it, but it's your customer. Why are you actually sending them back to us when you can take that data and have that visible on your screen? So when I click that link, it doesn't go to UPS, but it goes to your website. And why is that important? We've all experienced this. On one side of the screen, you'll actually provide the same information that I can provide to you that we will give them as far as where that package is and when they're going to get it. But now you have the opportunity on the other side of the screen to say, hey, Paul, that shirt that you bought in white, we have it in your size, and guess what? It comes in these other colors as well. And if you buy from us now, we'll give you 20% off. It's an opportunity to do sales after you've already got a sale with this customer. So there's so many ways to, again, utilize the logistics side of your business. And if you do it right, improve that customer experience, continue to talk to them, and get more revenue from them as well, too. Again, a lot more that we can dive into here as well that we can share with you when you come visit us at the booth. I want to wrap up because I think we're getting tight on time here. But I want to talk about a couple more things. So supply chain optimization. Again, this is one of those things when I talk to businesses, they build a business plan, they look at their business plan, but a lot of businesses don't look at their actual supply chain. And it's critical. And this is not one of those things that you do once and you file away. It's one of those things you need to constantly be looking at. Every time there's a significant change in what you offer customers or how you offer to customers or your business model, you need to look at how you can optimize your supply chain and make it even better. And if you're not making changes, at least looking at that once a year. Because when we talk about this to customers, customers think that, oh, I know what supply chain mapping is. It's all about, mapping how I get my products from my manufacturers, how I get it to warehouses, how I then place those orders and get out to my customers. And those that think they really know it well, they say, and then how I manage returns and warranties back. And you know what? That is correct, but it's 1/3 of the flow you need to be mapping. Because there's two other key components. The other two key components is the flow of money. Because you also, when you're mapping your supply chain, you want to understand how am I getting paid and when? Because you've got people that are looking for you to pay them as well. So you need to understand how do my goods flow, or how my money flows, and then in the day and age that we live in today, you need to also map the flow of information. You need to understand when am I getting my goods or the raw materials into my manufacturers or from my manufacturer? When is it going to be in the distribution site? Where's that information so I can upload that and manage my inventory? How is that going out? If it's going out, what do my inventory flows look like? If I got returns, where are those returns and how are those returns being managed? Right? So you need to not just know the flow of the actual materials, how that works, and who manages that, but also information and money as well too. So again, please take the time to do this and look at it, because this is an area we've seen businesses that haven't looked at it and they're struggling. Then we come in and talk to them and we fix a very few simple things that really, really helps pull some pain points off of them managing their business to help them in all three of these areas. All right. I want to talk about UPS Canada Fulfillment. Hopefully everyone that's watching this today recognizes UPS, recognizes our shield, recognizes that, we move goods around the world. Hopefully you recognize that we're supporting a small business event, that we support businesses that are shipping one package a year or shipping, hundreds a day. It doesn't matter. We've got programs and support for all of them. What a lot of businesses don't recognize is we also support businesses from a fulfillment perspective. In fact, we have a dedicated program for small businesses and startups. In Canada specifically, we've got 2 locations, one in Burlington, one in Calgary. But what it allows you to do is allows you to utilize both or one of those locations where we can actually do the fulfillment with UPS's white glove treatment to actually get your products to your customers faster and typically at a lower cost. And you might be wondering, well, Paul, really at a lower cost? How does that work? Well, if we go to the next screen, there's an example here. In fact, we are offering anyone that's at the event today to actually have the opportunity, if you go to our virtual booth, we'll give you a URL so that you can, through the Canadian SME Expo, sign up and get 50% off of our shipping. But even with that 50% discount that you're getting, if you're fulfilling yourself, and here's an example, again, Toronto to Vancouver customer of yours, shipping that via our ground service, you're looking at a rate of $26.78. Now, again, this is for a 10-pound package going out there, and it's going to take 4 days to get to your customer. And you might be thinking, well, that's not too bad, 4 days, the rate 50%, that's great, I like this. But that same package, if we were fulfilling that package for you out of our Calgary warehouse, as soon as you get that order and you send that to us, we're now going to ship from Calgary to Vancouver, shorter distance. So now that 10-pound package is only going to cost $18.80. The fees for us to fulfill that order for you, to pick and pack and get it out the door, is $3.32. So combined, you can see that the total rate is less for your business, and your customer's experience is going to be increased because they're going to get it in half of the time. So again, we just wanted to share this with you because it's not something that is well known yet, even though we've been doing this for a couple of years and adding small businesses all the time. We just wanted to make sure that it was something that we push out there to communicate with you as well. So as I'm wrapping up, our theme that we've had since COVID broke out is come back stronger. So we have our dedicated website for businesses, and you can see it on your screen there, the comebackstrong.com. And by going to this website, you'll find a whole bunch of additional information, including accessing my team of small business ambassadors who can answer any questions you have, hopefully help you and give you some advice. And you can see some case studies from some of our existing customers as to how they had to, through the pandemic, pivot their business, ensure that they were going to be able to survive through what we've had to do with the last almost 2 years, and not just survive, but like I indicated in my opening, thrive as well too. So hopefully I've provided some great insights to you and your businesses today. Love to hear from any of you with any comments or information you might have. And I just wanted to, again, thank you for your time and for your patience. Thank you.
Paul, wow, thank you. There are so many thoughts that you threw out there that I'd love to not only recap, but quickly dig a little deeper. If you could, for all of our participants today, when they visit you at the booth, if you could please redirect them to the Pulse of the Online Shopper. What a fantastic resource that UPS has developed. Specifically, see, it's like all of our speakers and presenters and exhibitors today. It's not just what you do specifically, but it's all the value that continues to be added through organizations such as UPS. So again, thank you for being here with us. There's a thought that you introduced for us, and it's the concept of the dichotomy between the lifetime value, so the LTV, versus a transactional sale, right? And so it's that one time versus lifetime. The way that you described it as far as a lifetime value in being able to track my shirt size and now my color, what would it take? And who would somebody connect with, whether it be UPS? Is that something that you could help folks figure out how to add to their site?
Yeah, great question. That specific component is not something that we would work on. So to clarify for everyone, our Pulse of the Online Shopper, we didn't just focus on the logistics side of it. When we've done the study around the world, we want to make sure that it actually covered the entire spectrum and experience that a customer has online. For example, storing a cart for a later time has nothing to do with UPS and shipping, moving those goods, but it's something that we wanted to understand the entire experience a customer would have on their website, and what would cause them to walk away, not finish that transaction. So to answer your question specifically on how to manage, if you build your own website, you need to work with your developer, because that's information you have from that customer because they placed that order. So you now know that here's the product that they've ordered, the size and the color, and you now know that in that space, what alternatives you might want to position for them. Wow. And I use the example of a shirt. It could be something different. It could be, I ordered something from my accessories for my barbecue, and now you're, talking about a different type of accessories that I can use for my barbecue as well too. So again, understanding what you have to offer, you can then tie that back in because you know what they placed as an order. Yeah. Now, if you're utilizing a marketplace, so a Shopify, a WooCommerce, someone else, they too can help you with ensuring that back end is communicating for you to be able to pull that data out and then use that in any type of campaign you want to communicate.
That's fantastic. Fundamentally, you cannot create unless you ideate. And that's one of the things that you've been able to do for us today is help us to think through the power of possibilities to empower our businesses. So thank you for just even the ideas and concepts that, you and your team at UPS. And I want to remind everybody, please go ahead and visit Paul and Felipe at the booth. By the way, as great as Paul is, you might like Felipe better. So yeah, please definitely visit Paul and his team over there. Now, this is a concept that you introduce from a logistics perspective. Most people will immediately think brown as moving product, but then you just raised the stand. You just raised it for us. You say, hey, yes, for sure. But we're also speaking about the movement of money, the logistics of getting paid so you can then pay your vendors and then benefit from the margin, of course. And then you also spoke about the flow of information. Can you expand a little bit of what you meant by information? What information would be critical for us to be able to track? Now, I know one example you just spoke about, like shirt size and color. Now you can upsell and turn them into a lifetime customer. Is there another example that you can share as far as information? Were you speaking about data integrity and protection from a privacy perspective, or were there other angles as well?
So from a security perspective, absolutely. It wasn't what I was covering, but that is just as critical, absolutely. But I'm just talking about the world that we live in today. I mean, we all have these, and I don't feel bad, but I guarantee you, everyone that's watching this today, throughout my presentation, others, they probably look down at this every once in a while when an email comes in or something else pops up. It's the world we live in today. We want information as consumers, right? So what is critical for that is, historically, prior to this age that we're in today, businesses need to understand that, hey, my manufacturer overseas, when are they going to get my new inventory in? Because I need to know that, because when a customer comes to my brick and mortar, or when a customer, calls me, I need to be able to let them know that, hey, I've got stock coming in a week or a month, and share that information. But because of the day and age that we're in today, customers want to go online, and if they want to place an order on something, think about the difference of this experience. One experience would be, oh, here's the shirt, here's the color. Oh, they don't have my size. It doesn't say anything else. Okay, I'm going elsewhere. As opposed to, here's my shirt, here's the color. They don't have my size, but it says that they're expecting replenished inventory in 3 days. Because I've got that flow of information. I know that. I now can share that with my customer, which improves that experience, because I might say, well, hey, they're saying in 3 days they're going to have more inventory. I can wait until then. Or they might even allow me to place the order now with the understanding that, hey, you can place your order now. Inventory is coming in 3 days. That's when it's actually going to be shipped out to you, right? So as opposed to, I can't even do anything, go past this. Well, what kind of experience is that? I'm off. So that's what we mean by information. It's to help you manage your business, but we live in a day and age today that as it's helping you do that, it's also information you can share with your customers to elevate that experience that they're having.
Fantastic. Thank you. And you're right. There's so much more information that we can empower our clients with. And when they feel empowered, they'll feel more comfortable in your competency. And of course, that will always translate into hopefully a greater ticket price in their shopping basket or whatever it is, because they actually trust you, because you look like, you actually sound like you know what you're speaking about. So again, Paul, thank you. And thank you for the generous offer. Folks, for UPS to show up and say, hey, 50% off of what we, services. That's another reason why you want to visit Felipe and Paul at the booth. They'll share more details on that. Right now, the team is they're about to drop in, they'll drop a quick link in the chat so you can go and see what the code is, and you're probably seeing it on your screen now. The 50% off, and this is exclusive for all participants of this event. So take advantage of it. Please, folks, you're already looking at shipping. Why not explore what, I know it's an old slogan, but why not explore what Brown can do for you? Sorry to pull that out of the file there, Paul. My apologies, but it was just top of tongue there. Now, the other major thing that I wanted to celebrate is the work that UPS has been doing representing small business of the day. Now, this is fantastic. As I mentioned earlier, partnering with Canadian SME, what we've been able to do is profile and highlight a small business of the day. And this has become a bit of a passion project. And if you don't follow Paul on LinkedIn yet, please go ahead and follow him on LinkedIn. Almost on a daily basis, he's posting videos of small businesses that could not only use your support, but we have partnered to support and profile because of the work that they do. Now, we've collaborated with our partner UPS, as I mentioned, to promote through all of our social platforms the work that they are doing. And again, referring to these small businesses. If you too, and here is the opportunity, if you too would like to participate and have your small business participate in the process of leveraging UPS and Canadian SME to get your message and your company out there, please visit SMEfoundation.ca. This is our nonprofit arm that simply is here to support you. Again, visit SMEfoundation.ca to have your business profiled as well. Now, we're trying our best to get a video loaded to play for you right now. And just before we do that, we are going to take a short break. And Paul, again, thank you for being here with us today. We're going to take a short break. And folks, I encourage you, you definitely want to come back at 12:30. At 12:30, we're going to have an exclusive panel for women entrepreneurship. And this isn't just for women. This is for all of us learning ways to engraft better rhythms in the workforce, in celebrating not only our differences, but being able to leverage the skills, talents, abilities of both genders. So what we'd like to quickly do is show you a video. Paul, thank you. We will see you all back at 12:30 sharp for our first panel of the day, Women Entrepreneurship.
This is Maheen from Canadian SME Small Business Magazine. Today's UPS Small Business of the Day is Cup of Tea. Cup of Tea is a premier online retailer of loose-leaf organic teas and teaware based in Ontario, Canada. They're dedicated to enriching lives through the experience of premium teas specially made from organic ingredients, with each taste offering unique benefits to tea lovers all over the world and every drop telling a story. Their journey began in 2008 when founder Taylor Lindsay Noyle, an aspiring Olympic gymnast, suffered a devastating accident while in training that left her paralyzed and in a wheelchair. Whether you appreciate something sustainable and wholly natural with refreshing flavors, they provide an exclusive range of crafts from berry, coconut, lemon ginger, and chai, all enwrapped with super freshness and ethically sourced from authentic growers across the globe. I ordered mine today. Now you get yours. Visit cupoftea.ca. To get your business featured on Canadian SME, please visit smefoundation.ca. With UPS support, our goal through this foundation is to not only promote Canadian small businesses so they can get more visibility, but also hopefully gain the attention of potential customers who will be able to purchase their products and services and help small businesses out during these challenging times. Shop local first.